in Washington County. John? Ah, very good. Thank you. Well, we are very pleased to have the governor here today. And just a couple of brief comments. His commitment to people with disabilities since he's taken office has been just a blessing for people with disabilities and their families. In last year's budget, the governor fought for increases to agencies like ARC Human Services across the state, and that money was primarily designated for direct support staff. And the direct support staff are the lifeblood of what we do. They're there every day. The care and compassion that they share with the individuals that we serve is just tremendous. And with that funding, we were able to increase salaries, benefits, and even the governor's staff created a career path for folks through credentialing so that people could be direct support workers for their entire career and still make a good wage in doing that. And it was just a tremendous effort that was really appreciated by everyone. I also want to applaud you on attending about a month or so ago in Pittsburgh the technology summit with the energy industry.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And none of us know where AI and technology is going to take us, but it's an exciting time. And we just want to be sure that people with disabilities aren't left on the outside of that. People with disabilities could use technology to live independently in the community and safely in the community. That's one of our goals, and I know it's one of the goals of the governor's team. And so we're really happy to work with you on that as well. Thank you. And lastly, I'll say on behalf of all the individuals with disabilities across the state and their families, your work in minimizing and decreasing the waiting list has been monumental. And I'll say, literally, in the last couple of years, thousands of people have come off the waiting list and are now getting services in the community, whether it's in-home services, employment services, group homes. And it is a life-changing experience for those individuals and their families. And we really support that effort. So please, a big Washington County, Canonsburg welcome for Governor Shapiro.
Thanks, Ed. Thank you. Thanks, Ed. And I want to say thank you for hosting us today. I want to say thank you for doing God's work every single day. The work that you do here is so life-changing and so critically important. And I want to say a special thanks to each and every member of your team. I got the chance to meet several of you, including spending some time in the classroom downstairs. There are so many things that you could be doing in life, but you've dedicated yourselves to doing this work on behalf of our fellow Pennsylvanians. And I must tell you, it is understood, it is appreciated. We know the sacrifices you make, and we also know the extraordinary differences you make. So, Ed, to you and your amazing team, I truly want to say thank you. We appreciate you so very much. I think the professionals that do this work are the unsung heroes in our communities. They often get sort of ignored in this conversation. Well, we've got you guys front and center, and we're really thankful for all the work that you do. I wanted to be here today to both highlight the honorable work that's being done here at the ARC in Washington County, and to also highlight the progress that we have made across the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, in many ways thanks to the example that you set here, the example you set on being able to deliver really wonderful and compassionate care that we need to see all across this Commonwealth. And so I want to thank you for being a model for delivering wonderful services, and a model and example that we can hold up for the rest of the Commonwealth on how to do it right. I think people often underestimate those with disabilities and what they are capable of. I want you to know we are different here in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. We know that people with disabilities make our communities stronger. They are incredibly important to the lifeblood of a community. And that's why I have been so focused on making sure Pennsylvanians with disabilities have the resources they need to succeed and thrive and to live life on their own terms in a way that helps them live full lives and gives back to those around us. I want you to know that this has been a huge priority for me and for my wife, Lori. Pennsylvania's First Lady. And in fact, Lori apologizes she couldn't be here today. Our son Max just had his wisdom teeth out. He'd probably hate for me to tell you his cheeks are all blown up today. I gave him the ice packs this morning and all that. She's there with Max, but she wanted to send along her thanks for the incredible work you do. She has made it her cause as First Lady to stand up for our IDA community and to make sure that you have all of the help and the resources that you need, and to see people for the wonderful folks that they are and help them contribute in our communities. As we've been fortunate to travel all across this Commonwealth, we've seen firsthand that Pennsylvanians with disabilities have a ton to offer, and the caregivers, including many of you here today, love and support them in an unconditional and beautiful way. Their stories have really moved us to act and to get stuff done for them. Folks like, I remember Matt and Lisa and Jerome, who I met last year in Bucks County, which is on the opposite corner of our Commonwealth, over at a place called Bark Services, which does a lot of similar work to what you do here. We heard from them just how much their caregivers mean to them. We saw that bond. And I can tell you about the time Cindy and Matt Jennings came to visit me at my office in Harrisburg. Cindy's the mom, Matt is her son. They came to talk about the need to help those with disabilities in their communities. After Cindy and Matt left my office, I immediately assembled our top team, including the great Secretary Val Arkoosh, who you're going to hear from in a moment. And we said, it is time for us to do something for these folks with disabilities and stop paying them lip service. I could remember my time as a state representative nearly 2 decades earlier, where folks with disabilities would show up in our state capitol, walk into our offices, wheel into our offices, and ask for help. And it seemed like every year around budget time, they were sort of left on the cutting room floor. They never got the help that they needed. Well, Cindy was an inspiration for me because she was doing everything right, providing care 24/7 for Matt. You know people like Cindy all across this great Commonwealth who love their children unconditionally, but you can also tell they're exhausted. They're exhausted not for delivering wonderful, loving care for their kid, but exhausted by the bureaucracy, exhausted by the fact that they couldn't get the dollars that they needed or the waiver that they needed to help the individual in their life that they love the most. And I didn't want to see that exhaustion on people's faces anymore. We wanted to help people like them, and we wanted to help people like Eugene and the hundreds of incredible Pennsylvanians who get help right here at the Arc of Washington County. No longer were we going to let their stories not be heard. We were going to make sure we shouted from the rooftops about wonderful people like Eugene and get them the help that they need. And so we got to work together. And we brought together Democrats and Republicans to make an historic investment in serving people with disabilities. We finally made the investments that people were talking about for nearly 20 years. We finally got together and we got it done. Today I wanted to come back here to thank you for the work that you've done and to deliver a report on what those investments have led to, the way in which it has changed lives. Last year, we were able to add to our budget, working together, Democrats and Republicans alike, to add $355 million in additional resources for people with disabilities across Pennsylvania. That was an increase in the funding that this Capitol had not seen before. It allowed us to provide more funding for home and community-based services for the IDA community. That $355 million was a state investment that allowed us to also leverage federal dollars as well. And we basically used those dollars to do 2 things in Pennsylvania. First, to raise reimbursement rates, to increase wages for those DSPs, those direct support professionals, and pay them the wages that they truly deserve. And second, I was so tired as a parent of hearing other parents tell me how they were stuck on that emergency waiting list. It broke my heart to hear parents, having to care for their loved one, and then also figure out ways to navigate a bureaucracy that could be so challenging and so confusing. And so we set out with those additional dollars to eliminate a huge portion of the emergency wait list and get more Pennsylvanians the care that they deserve. And so because of that work, I'm proud to be here in Washington County today to announce that the job vacancy rate for direct support professionals is the lowest it has been in a decade. The lowest it's been in a decade. It's a big deal. And in just 1 year, we've been able to increase wages by 6% for our DSPs. Now understand, 6% is good, but we still got a lot of work to do, and I'm continued to be committed to raising wages for our direct support professionals. And as a result of that progress on the DSP front, we've been able to enroll 4,000 more Pennsylvanians with intellectual disabilities and autism into critical services since the day I took office. That means 4,000 people more are getting services today than from the day I started this work. That's meaningful change, and it's change that's come as a result of your tireless commitment to these issues, your lobbying and your advocacy, and our ability to bring Republicans and Democrats together to get it done. I want you to know we have taken that emergency wait list, which I know has frustrated so many Pennsylvanians for so long, and we've reduced that emergency wait list by 28% in just 1 year. That's an extraordinary drop. And understand, as the Secretary points out, that is not a static list. It's not like we inherited a static list and we've reduced it by 28%. People are still joining at the same time we are reducing that wait list by 28%. You're going to hear from her in a moment, but I have to say a special thank you to Secretary Val Arkoosh and her team at DHS. They have done incredible work. It's one thing to bring lawmakers together to appropriate new dollars, but unless you have a team dedicated to doing this work at a highly professional, organized way, you're never going to be able to solve people's problems. Secretary Arkoosh is solving people's problems. We're going to hear from one of those individuals in a moment who benefited from her leadership. Please put your hands together for Secretary Arkoosh and her work. Thank you. Look, I think this is just the start of the work we need to do for our IDA community, and I'm committed to continuing this important work. I think we all need to be reminded from time to time that as public servants, as elected officials, we're in the people business. We are here to serve the good people of Pennsylvania, to solve their problems, to get stuff done for them. That is exactly what we're doing. I know oftentimes it can be frustrating to watch some politicians get sucked into small ball politics. We don't do that in my administration. We focus on delivering for the people who are most in need, building coalitions to finally address these challenges that have been around for years, and doing something for some of the most precious people in our community, the members of the IDA community who have so much to offer us. So again, I want to thank you here at the Washington Arc for the amazing work that you do every day. You are an example to the rest of the Commonwealth for how to do it right. And I thank you, but I especially thank your amazing team that does this work every day. And I know you share that feeling. They're truly wonderful. We have a lot to celebrate. We've made a lot of progress. And I want to be clear, we got a lot more work to do, and I'm committed to doing that work together with all of you. So thank you very much for being here. And as I said a moment ago, we are in the people business. And I want you to hear from Eugene, who is a wonderful, wonderful person who we work for every single day, and a great reminder of why we all do this work that we do. Eugene, love to hear from you.
Hello, everybody. Hello, wonderful ARC. I've been with you in such a long time, so I just feel the surroundings right now of your wonderful people, of what you did for everybody. You know, especially Julie. Julie. Did a lot of nice things for me. Thank you, Julie. And I thank Carla for taking care of Betty all these years, and her boss. And I thank my friend John Paulison and everybody in here that did all this work for the people that have special needs. And I just want to say, this is a wonderful company. And I just want to say, everybody here, I want to thank everybody, especially the boss.
Thank you, Eugene. And you're on the board, so you're the boss.
for helping everybody. So I just want to thank the one standing over there for inviting me to the art classes.
Marilyn, yes, very good.
And all the other ones here, that one back there, thank you.
Carol, yes, Carol, yeah.
Audience from the board, thank you. Thank you. Let's see, who else? And I want to thank all the staff that showed me the smart house.
Yes.
Seriously, I enjoyed that. And I want to say one more thing. I just want to thank the governor. Put it there, good buddy.
There you go, my man.
Thank you, Eugene.
And I thank the one back there. Everybody's the best. Travis and his boss.
All right, thanks, Eugene. Everybody, thank you, Eugene. Appreciate it. Great job.
One more thing.
Take your time, Eugene.
I want to thank for one more thing. I want to thank especially Dana.
Yes.
I just want to say, Dana, all these years, excuse me. I want to say, you were the best like everybody. You know, I mean, you tried your best with everybody. You did a good job putting us all together. Everybody did a good job putting all this together.
Go ahead. Eugene, you go as long as you want.
And I want to give applause for the maintenance. Way to go, guys.
What was that movie? I'm not crying, you're crying, right? That's how I feel. Before I bring up Secretary Arkoosh, I think it is important to note that when Dana got her shout out here, Ed whispered in my ear, Dana's been doing this for about 3 decades, right? And I thought it was fitting that in all the folks that were thanked here by Eugene, you're thanking Dana, who does this wonderful programmatic work for 3 decades. And he also took the time to thank those who make this building look as beautiful as it does. And it is a reminder that this is a team game, that everybody has a responsibility to do their part in order to make sure Eugene and others get to live their best life. And I think that's a beautiful thing, Eugene, the way you thanked everyone and the way we acknowledge just how important they all are. So thank you, Eugene. It was really beautiful. All right. So Eugene, I want to bring up an important person to talk to you some more now, right? Let me just say we work really hard to be able to get the resources to help a place like this. But then those resources go to the Department of Human Services, who then has to steer it all out into the communities and make sure it all works, to help oversee the programs, to help work with wonderful people like Ed, to help make sure all parts of our Commonwealth get the help that they need, from here in Washington County all across our state. The person who leads that effort for us is Dr. Val Arkoosh, the Secretary of the Department of Human Services. And it's my honor to bring her up now to say a few words. Madam Secretary.
Good afternoon, everybody. It is so nice to be here, to be back here at the Ark of Washington County. I was here last September when we were just in the early days of having this incredible opportunity that the governor described of this new investment of funds into this critical work. And I could not be happier to be back here to celebrate the progress that we've made really in such a very short time. And I think about this place a lot. I think about the art on the walls that is created by the folks that come here. And I think about that room right behind that wall there that has all that incredibly cool technology in it. I tell people about it all the time. And the work that you're doing here, Ed, with your entire team is so forward-looking and so hopeful. And it's just the perfect place to talk about the story that you've heard this morning or this afternoon already. That when you bring people together, and I think so much of the credit goes to all of you who advocated tirelessly, not only with all of us, but with your General Assembly members, with others in your community, to help tell the story of how important it is for Eugene to be able to get the types of supports and services that he needs to be able to live his best life. And that collective effort worked. And with the governor's leadership of bringing everyone together to make sure that this particular program crossed the finish line, we got it done. And the results are so tangible. To reduce the adult emergency waiting list by 28% in a year is extraordinary. So we all knew that, we hoped that it was possible, but until it actually happened, we weren't certain. And we also knew that at the core of reducing that waiting list was to ensure that we had the direct service providers to provide those services to make it all possible. And so it was the combination of the funding for additional waivers and, most importantly, the funding to raise the wages of those direct service providers that has allowed this great progress so far. So kudos to all of you, and thank you for your efforts. And I also just want to talk about, very briefly, another way that the Ark here is, again, so forward-looking. I haven't had a chance to get there yet, unfortunately, but I'm looking forward to visiting the Smart Home. And it's an opportunity for people to see an actual home, completely fitted out with a lot of the stuff behind that wall, and test it out and try it out for themselves and with their family members, and figure out what technological tools would help them live with the independence that they desire to achieve. This is all part of the way that we are putting the sort of the puzzle pieces together to ensure that every person is able to live their everyday life, whatever that looks like for them, and to help people move forward toward that competitive integrated employment that we support fully and want to continue to expand. The governor's, the First Lady, the governor's wife, has made that just really her cause as she has spent time getting to know this community. And it's all of these pieces that we're putting together. The direct service providers getting adequate pay, making sure we're using every possible technology tool to advance this ball, your unflagging advocacy for what you need, and a commitment for all of us to listen to you and always to put your needs first that enables us to talk about these great victories today. So thank you all so much. Ed, it's such a pleasure to be back here again. And again, I hope we can come back in a year from now and say that that list is down 50%. We're going to keep at it. Thank you. So I'm so honored to introduce the next speaker. This is Mike, and Mike's daughter, who just graduated from Slippery Rock. Really incredible accomplishment, is here to talk about what this program has meant for him and some pretty good news that his family got recently for his daughter. Mike?
Thank you. Thank you, Governor. Welcome again, and thank you, Secretary. And here we go. So Governor Shapiro. I'm Michael Smith, and nice to meet all you folks. Eugene, especially nice to hear your words. You're an inspiration to me. I'm here today with my wife, Shameen, and my daughter, Sydney. And Governor, today we wanted to greet you. We were thrilled to come out and say thank you to you. Our gratitude is personal, Governor. And just let me share that Sydney is a young woman with an intellectual disability and autism. You heard that she graduated from college recently.
Yeah.
Pretty exciting days, you know. We had, we say in my family, really, the great days of our lives were the day Sydney was born. Prior to that, the day I married my wife.
Yeah, good call. There you go. Good cleanup.
I get that
there.
order,
Yep,
kind of,
yep.
you know.
I knew what he meant.
And the day Sydney was born, of course, and then the day that she was accepted into college, you know, big deal. You gave a proclamation to Slippery Rock, by the way, both secondary schools, so thank you for that. And then the other greatest day, I think, really maybe the best day of all, you were instrumental in providing to us, sir. It's the day that we came off of the emergency waiting list, which was just a couple of days ago. And so, big deal. And that means for us, for our daughter, that ensures the opportunity for her to go out and work, and she's a great worker in the community, to give back, to volunteer, which she does already for others and has been employed. And it will provide her, well, we came out here to the Ark to see Ed and his staff, and we were as impressed as you were with the staff and the tech tools that Sydney will soon kind of utilize so that she can live safely and independently in the community. And so from my family to your family, thank you, sir.
Thank you. I'm so happy for Mike, thank you. You know, we all work so hard to be able to deliver this help, and to be able to see you here, see your daughter, your wife here, be the beneficiaries of that, it just makes us feel great. And I must say, Representative Salisbury, who's been an incredible leader in the House of Representatives on this, deserves a great amount of credit for pushing this through the House. I know we're joined by Senator Bartolotta as well. And you know, this is an example of how we all work together to be able to get this done. And it's wonderful to see your family here and to be able to see you as the beneficiaries. So thank you. Thank you for sharing that. We appreciate it. And I think with that, unless Eugene, you want to say anything else, I got to take a few questions from the media, and then we'll all get a chance to spend some more time together. So, anybody from the media? Good.
Hi, Governor. I just have a question. How sustainable is this progress long term, especially when we're at a budget impasse, to give people that sense of awe when you know something like this is happening?
Well, we know that was an initial investment that we made last year that we worked incredibly hard to be able to deliver on. Again, this is an issue that was talked about for darn near 2 decades, and no one was able to bring folks together to get it done. We got that done, and now we want to continue to build on that. I know Secretary Arkoosh and her team are so proud of the fact that we eliminated 28% of the wait list, or reduced the wait list by 28%. We're not done yet. We're going to continue to make progress there. I want to continue to get more resources to raise the pay of direct support professionals and make sure folks like Eugene and others have the services that they absolutely deserve in the community where they love to live. So we're just getting started.
Can you also give us a status check on the budget right now in terms of education, transit, and then also anything you can add just about school security? Like we saw another tragic situation play out yesterday in a different state, but I know that it hits home here as well.
Yeah, well, let me kind of address both pieces of your question. Look, first on the budget, let me remind everyone here, I'm one of the only governors in the entire country with a divided legislature, a House led by Democrats, a Senate led by Republicans. Finding common ground, particularly in these polarized times, is very challenging. I've been working incredibly hard to bring the leaders of those two groups, those two caucuses together to make important investments in education, human services, public safety, economic development, infrastructure like mass transit, and much more. We're very close, but we're at the point right now where both sides need to make some tough choices. I said at the beginning of this process, the one thing I was certain about is that both sides would have to compromise. We're at the point now where they both have to make tough choices and compromise. The House Democrats won't get everything they want. The Senate Republicans won't get everything they want. I won't get everything I want. But I have always stayed true to my North Star in this process, and that is the good people of Pennsylvania. Putting aside the political games that others want to play and instead focusing on doing the job of bringing people together to get stuff done. Today you're seeing an example of what happens when you're patient, you work together to bring people together, you're able to support those who have these needs in their community. And we're going to do more of that when we finalize this budget. We're very close. Both sides now know what they need to do to close this out and get a deal done and get the senator and the representative back to Harrisburg to vote on this. It is frustrating that I introduced my budget nearly 205 days ago, and the Senate's been in session, I think, only 26 days during that time. It's time for everybody to come back to Harrisburg and close this out. Now, as it relates to the tragic shooting yesterday in Minneapolis, first, Lori and I have communicated with Governor Walz and with First Lady Walz, and just sending the support and prayers of an entire Commonwealth of Pennsylvania to those who are in Minnesota who are grieving today. I can't help but feel, not just as a governor, but as a father of 4 kids, including kids who went to school, and one of the first things that our kids did when they went to school each day was to pray. The idea that these children were in their Catholic school preparing not just for the new school year, but that school day, and they were praying and gunfire rang out. It's not okay. And it doesn't have to be this way in the United States of America. And we shouldn't accept this as normal. We shouldn't. We have a lot of work to do to make sure that mental health is addressed, that guns don't get into the hands of people who shouldn't have them, that we value life, and that we don't settle our differences by picking up a weapon. No community is immune from this. This is happening in rural communities, urban communities, suburban communities, communities led by Democrats and communities led by Republicans. No one's immune from this. And it's time it stops. What sickens me is not just the carnage that we see in our schools, but the lack of spine some leaders have across this Commonwealth and this country in accepting this as normal. This is not okay, and this is not normal. And we stand out as a nation, sadly, as a place where this continues to happen. This isn't happening in other nations around the world. It needs to stop. And so yes, while Lori and I, and I'm sure 13 million Pennsylvanians, are praying for our friends in Minnesota, we also have to focus on doing something about this and not sending our kids to school fearful that they could get shot. You asked me before about funding for strengthening security at our schools. We've done that on a bipartisan basis, and we're going to continue to do that. That's only one piece of it. We got a lot more work to do. For my part, I'm going to continue to try and lead on these issues. I'm grateful to the House for passing numerous measures that would help reduce violence in our communities. I hope the Senate takes those bills up soon. We have a lot more work to do to keep our kids safe. I say that not just as your governor, but I say that as a father of 4. This needs to end. This is not normal, and it doesn't have to be this way.
Yes. Can you address Senator Martin, who says you're playing politics with transit?
I have no idea what Senator Martin's talking about. Here's the deal. We need to fund mass transit in each of our 67 counties. Both the House and the Senate have shown a desire to do that. The House has passed a responsible measure 5 different times. I said this before. It is time for the leaders in both chambers to understand this is the moment where they need to make tough choices. And if they make those tough choices, they know that there is a way forward to fund our schools, to fund supports for people with intellectual disabilities, to fund the hiring of more police, to fund all kinds of important things, including mass transit and our road and bridge construction that is necessary. They know what they need to do. It's time that they stop firing off press releases and playing political games, come back to Harrisburg and do their jobs.
Governor, one more from me.
Yeah.
The deadly explosion at the Clairton Coke plant continues, but could you share any vision or thoughts you have for the future of that plant, given its history, the damage, and the dangers associated?
Well, as you know, my team was on the ground within moments, and I want to thank all the first responders that rushed to our danger, from our state officials to our local officials, and of course our federal partners as well. Everyone did what they needed to do. Sadly, 2 lives were lost and others were injured. The next morning when I was there, I stood with the CEO of U.S. Steel, and I made him, and he said to the public that he would provide a full accounting for what happened, and that they would take the steps necessary to secure the facility and to make sure it's safe for all the steel workers that go in there every day and do extraordinarily important work, not just for our Commonwealth, but for our entire country and the world. I'm going to hold him accountable to that. He and I have spoken since then. He has shared with me, and I think shared publicly, some of the things that they think went wrong that led to that deadly explosion. I'm confident that there will be a full accounting, that all of the steps will be taken in order to secure the facility to make it safe, so that when these steel workers bravely go back in those facilities, they will know that their safety is of the utmost importance and the issues that triggered that explosion have been addressed and that they are safe to go back to work. I'm going to keep holding U.S. Steel accountable, and we're going to make sure that that occurs. I also think it is important to note that Nippon, which purchased U.S. Steel a couple months ago now at this point, has promised to make more than $2 billion worth of investments in our facilities here in Pennsylvania, including that facility. That's going to be important to not just addressing the issue that occurred a couple weeks ago, but to making sure that we've got state-of-the-art, safe facilities going forward. So I'm confident Nippon's going to make those investments. They're legally bound to do that. And I'm confident that Dave Burritt and the leadership at U.S. Steel are going to ensure that there's a full accounting for what transpired. Okay? Thank you all very, very much. Thank you.